The World Chess Championship match is over. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching along and seeing Gukesh make history, but I'm actually making this short video for a different reason, because if you take a look at the final position of the championship match, there's, I think, a really cool and interesting detail that kind of gets highlighted. So the match in general is obviously super high level. We're talking about really complicated ideas, very nuanced and subtle concepts, but the final moves themselves, I think, can be explained really simply. And I think it goes to show that even at the highest level, ultimately it boils down to very fundamental principles. So I want to make this quick video to show you what I mean. So in this position here, it was white to play. Maybe you recall, Ding Liren has the white pieces, and he makes a very severe blunder. He plays rook to f2. We'll take a look at this in a second. I should note that while white is down a pawn here, if he were to play a move like rook a4 or bishop to g2, kind of consolidating, not trading any pieces, he's actually having very good chances to draw, and it's difficult for black to make progress. Unfortunately, by playing rook to f2, Ding allows a sequence of trades. First the rooks, and very importantly, then the bishops. And once the bishops also trade off the board, in this final position, white is actually losing. They're down a pawn in a pawn endgame, and for example, the game actually ended right here. Black also gains opposition. The king will be able to slowly maneuver in and use the extra pawn to win. Now, what I think happened in the last couple of moves is a really simple idea, which is black was up a pawn, and so Gukesh, being black, decided let's trade pieces, let's trade the rooks and then the bishops, and simplify into an endgame where the extra pawn that I have will be a lot more powerful, a lot more meaningful than when there's kind of a lot of noise on the board, where there's a lot of extra pieces. Now, this basic idea is something that a lot of beginners learn through the simple rule where if you're up material, then trade pieces. And I think it kind of goes to show that, again, at the highest level, fundamentally, this is what it boils down to, these very simple ideas. So I'm going to end the video with kind of an extra puzzle for you guys that comes down to the same idea of trading pieces if you're up material. And I think it kind of illustrates that, yeah, this idea is super common, definitely at the highest level, including the World Championship match, but also in many random puzzles and positions that you may stumble into in your own game. So hopefully you enjoy the next puzzle. So now take a look at this position here. It is white to move. We are up a pawn, but it's not that easy to convert, and there's actually only one way to win here. So pause the video. I want to just start by, showing you that if you push the pawn, which is obviously like the tempting move, we all want to do this. The issue is that there's still many pieces left on the board, right? A pair of queens and a pair of knights. So black is going to have very sufficient counterplay. Queen to g4 check, and then you're going to hang the pawn on h4. They can take with the knight and threaten mate as well. They're definitely having a lot of play. After they take, there's also knight f3 ideas. The point is, this is not actually what we want. If we take a step back then, the way to win here, very similar to the World Championship match, we want to trade pieces. Queen to d1, this really difficult retreating move, hard to see, it actually is super powerful. Now, if they choose to trade the queens on their own right now, that's going to be awesome. We're going to get into a knight endgame, we're up a pawn, we're the only ones pushing for anything, and because this pawn is kind of far away from the king side, where all of the pressure and all of the pieces currently lie, that means that we have good chances to promote. It's going to be hard for them to defend sufficiently. Now, there's this alternative, which is taking the knight here. But now we rely, obviously, on a really cool tactic. Queen takes h5, and this comes with a fork. And after the king has to move, let's say to g8, we're going to take the knight here on g6. And in this resulting position, again, much because we simplified by trading, we're pretty happy, right? So they don't have the counterplay needed to stop our extra pawn. In fact, now it's already an extra 2 pawns, and this is pretty decisive. So, for example, I'll give a line, let's say queen to c1 here, putting pressure on our pawn. We can actually give away that pawn. So we give this check, we're going to take the pawn on e6, we're going to give them the pawn on the c-file, but after they take the pawn on the c-file, we're up 2 pawns still, and we can start pushing and making progress. So h5 is kind of the final move that I'll mention, and again, it's a pretty sweet move because we're kind of setting up some mating ideas, right? There's now this square on g6 that could be a checkmating square, and the point, of course, is that if they were to take, well, we have this beautiful queen to h3 idea, forcing the queens off the board, And again, the more trades in such a position, the better, because we're up a pawn. So I think this is a really cool and again, fairly simple idea. Trade when you're up, but I think seeing it in action is helpful, especially at the highest level, because it kind of reassures you that yes, even the most basic of principles do matter, even at the World Championship stage. Hopefully you enjoyed this short video. Hopefully you enjoyed the World Chess Championship match, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.